Hey ladies, I have read your matrices and provided feedback to you. We're still having issues with the inline grading feature of Blackboard. So check your file and see if there is inline grading feedback, basically the red font that comes on the side of your document or on your document. If you don't, then you should have adequate feedback in the associated rubric with your assignment. It really just depended on what the system decided to do with whatever the file is that you loaded. It's nothing that you're doing. It's a Blackboard issue that Liberty's trying to sort through, although very slowly. It is getting better but not fixed. So make sure that you look on your matrices as well as in your rubric for feedback. If you've been asked to resubmit your matrix, know that you're going to go back into that assignment from week 5. You'll click on that link and you'll resubmit it there. It's not going to change your grade, but if you struggled with a certain aspect of it and you don't have enough detail to begin writing part 3, that would be the reason that you'd be asked to resubmit that matrices for my review. And that timetable is yours based on your own plan of completion for part 3. If you're having questions or you are going to need to resubmit that, my encouragement is to do that before you submit part 3, not at the same time, primarily because if you're still struggling with your analysis or details or whatever the issue was, I don't want that to spill over into part 3 and make that a train wreck as well. If part 3 is an issue, then you'll have to fix part 3 before you do your poster. And I strongly suspect that by the time you're done with part 3, you are going to be tired of your integrative literature topic. No matter how much you love it, you're going to get wary. So do the heavy lifting on the front end and make those efforts. You guys are doing a great job. I remember those last few courses of my own master's journey as well as my doctoral degree. I remember that last course of just wanting it to be over. I also remember the moments when it was over, feeling kind of sad. There's something invigorating about new information, about learning, about seeing things differently. So while I was really ready for it to be over, I did have a couple of months of feeling kind of lost of, okay, now what am I going to do and how will I stay engaged? So know that you're going to have those mix of emotions. My concern for you is getting you through week 6, 7, and 8. And then with the holidays coming, we are all so ready for a break. The master's program runs 24/7. It runs about 11 and a half months a year. So those of us that are on faculty full time, we don't get a break either. Trust me when I tell you I'm looking forward to the holidays as much as you are as well, just to kind of have a mental break. From an APA standpoint, the only thing I'm going to encourage you to do is make sure that if you are not seeing a DOI listed on the journal article that you're pulling, use crossref.org. It's a resource that's under the content section under the additional resources. It's a website. They do a metadata search and they're designed to pull DOIs if one exists. Use that as a resource to make sure that you're putting a DOI. Using a DOI or a URL is not optional. You've got to do one or the other. And if there is an existing DOI for the article you have, that's what you're supposed to use, not the URL. So get into the habit of double checking those things. There are so many moving parts in a reference list, much less one that has 20 to 25 articles in it. One of your classmates rocked it out. Danielle, you did a fantastic job designing a perfectly developed reference list. It's just very, very unique to get one that's like exactly perfect. I have a hard time with it, so super impressed and proud of you. Many of you are doing a really, really good job. 1 or 2 small errors, folks, that is just not a big deal. I have sent articles in for publication and had them tell me I had errors, grammatical errors, misspellings, APA errors. Don't tell anybody. This is hard stuff. So if you're getting away with 1 or 2 corrections at this point, well done. So super proud of you. This week you're working on your practicum log number 2. You're old hats at this. You know what you're doing. One thing I will tell you to do is do your log first because you're going to need the dates when you completed each goal and objective, to put that as an artifact for your portfolio final draft. You have to have 4 artifacts on your portfolio that's also due this week. One of those is your original goals and objective document with the date of completion beside them in red font. So you're just going to open up that document that you submitted into Typhon, and you're going to put in the dates that you completed each of those goals and objectives. If there are a few, there may be 1, 2, 3 that you haven't completely wrapped up, put a projected date of the end of the course. That's not uncommon, so that's okay. The other thing this does is it lets you kind of go back in and look and make sure you haven't dropped the ball on something. And folks, it is so easy to do with these courses moving so quickly and you being so entrenched in the practicum setting. We just want to lift your eyes one last time, have you look at that goals and objective document. Put the date of completion in red font with the corresponding goals and objectives. There should be a date for each goal and each objective. So know that that would be expected. Your objectives, as you've accomplished them, normally what you're doing is you're going to accomplish your objectives first, and when you finish that last objective, then your goal's complete. So if your overall goal had 3 objectives, those 3 objectives will have an earlier date, and the goal will have normally it's the date of the last objective. I'm not as picky about dates as I just want to see that you've done them and that you've done your own analysis of your progression. It's also a moment for you to say, yay you, that you got through all those goals and objectives that you've accomplished in 3 courses. That's not easy to do. So take the time to do that. It is an artifact that is due in your portfolio part 3. So let's talk a minute about your portfolio part 3. Part 3 is the final piece of your portfolio. You'll put in your service dates and you're going to put them in. I would bullet point them, folks. I would not make a paragraph of these. Put in the types of services they are, exactly what they were, and the dates. If there are some that you just haven't had in an area of service, just put none and just keep going. But be thoughtful about this. Think about what you do in your role as an employee, what you do in your role as a mother, daughter, son, spouse, whatever your roles are. Then think about your community and your church service. So think about what you've been doing to serve and be clear about what you've done and the dates that you've done that. The last part of it, the artifacts. Some of you have already put in a picture. Some of you have already put in some documents. Be sure that you have 4 and that they work. If you are putting in a photo or a video, they need to be embedded. Don't put them in as an attachment. I will tell you that, and you know this as professionals, if somebody sends you a file and it has something that you need to download, especially if it's a picture or a video, the first thing we think is it's a virus. So don't do it. There are instructions available to you in the rubric and instructions to help you do that. Maybe not the rubric, should be in the instructions. And the tutorials will show you how to do that. If you have questions or concerns, holler at me. Or, if it's specifically a tech kind of thing, use the Liberty online help desk. So contact them for those walkthrough questions. Okay, I think that's it. Let's talk. I'm just going to talk briefly because some of you are thinking, okay, I really want to start writing part 3 of my integrative literature review. So here's what this looks like. You're going to go open up part 1. You're going to polish that, clean that up. Make sure that part 1 says what you did in part 2. You will not resubmit part 2 matrix unless I have specifically asked you to do so. What you are going to do is you're going to take all that information and you're going to do an analysis. You're going to do a compare and contrasting of what you found. This is not an article summary. You should not put Article 1 said this, Article 2 said this, Article 3 said this. What you're going to do is group them thematically. So if you had 15 articles and 5 articles focused on this and 3 articles focused on this and then 4 articles focused on this, and I think that leaves 4 articles focused on a different topic. You're going to organize them thematically and you're going to compare and contrast their topics. How you organize it is entirely up to you. But notice that it's not a summary. You want to be able to give a general overview of what these articles found, how they were similar, how they were different, and then talk about the relevance. Why did what you found matter? And it matters to your PICO question. So part 3, you're going to do that analysis of what you found, comparing, contrasting thematically, not an article summary. You're going to do that using level 1, level 2, level 3 headings. And then you're going to talk about the relevance to your PICO question. You're also going to talk about internal and external validity. And when you talk about validity, you're going to talk about your own research process as well as the bias and the validity of the articles you used. So you've got their validity as well as your own validity and how that came together to help you decide the answer to your PICO question. So you really want to be able to say, I looked at all these articles and these are the things they found in common. This one was different than this one. In general, this is what I found. This is the summative statement of what my research discovered. And here's the answer to my PICO question. This is the so what. Why does your PICO matter? And wrap it up. And then, of course, address relevance and bias. You can do this. The heavy lifting, I promise you folks, is already done. That matrix was the hard part. You already know what you found. You already know what was similar, what was different. You've got a general sense of, got it. I know what the answer to my PICO question is. All you're doing is writing one more paper and pulling it all together and putting a pretty bow on it. So if you're already that far ahead of the game, bless you, go forth with my blessing. If you were just 1 week at a timing, then put your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 I did not hear anything. Either way, let me know how I can help. I love James, the first chapter, verses 2-3. And they tell us this. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. So what James is talking about is being steadfast in our faith, in God's plan, in his providence, in his grace, in his mercy, in his timing. I know that at this point you are wary, and then of course getting through the matrix, you're tired. Trust in God's plan, ladies. Know that He has not brought you this far to allow you to feel defeated or to feel frustrated or stressed. Take a deep breath. You only have a few more weeks. Trust in God's grace. Trust that He has got you in this. He has brought you this far. He is going to get you through 3 more blessed weeks. I am delighted that God's plan included me on your timeline. And that I get to walk this piece of the journey with you. Know that I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you, and I am truly here to steward you through this process. You are not by yourself. So if you're reading feedback that's been provided in your matrix and you just want to pull out your hair, please contact me. We'll chat, we'll talk, we'll instant message, we'll do something. You're going to be okay. You did not get this far to not be fabulous in the finish. God's got this, and I've got you. So one way or the other, we got it covered. Be in touch. Take care.